Let me put you on game. Don't listen to people who lose or you'll do the same. Stop talking to people who don't give a f*** what you saying. Stop spending your money on weed, go hop on a plane. Stop pointing the finger and stop.
Welcome back to another episode of The Pursuit of Wealth. Today we've got the Mark Willmore. If you guys don't know him, he's the guy that drives that sexy red R8 all over town. So Mark, we just kind of want to get to know you, your story.
Sure.
Mark's been in sales for 5 years.
5 years.
Okay, he's with Aptive Sales. If you guys don't know them, definitely look them up. They're crushing it all across the country. But yeah, Mark, what got you into sales? Where did you start?
I think like most guys, just wanting to make more money.
Yeah.
I was in college, wanted to be a pediatric dentist, and my brother-in-law actually worked for Aptive, so
Okay.
it kind of worked out. Had a family relationship there, but
Yeah.
he's like, you need to do this. It's a good summer job. Like you can make 15, 20 grand in a summer.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if I could do that, that'd be awesome.
For sure.
So that was
So
a
you were
pretty
going to-
easy sale.
You were going to school for dentistry?
Yeah, I wanted to go to pre-med and go to pediatric dental school.
So school, like, were you good at school?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
So ambitious then?
Yeah, I think like I was surrounded by like my sisters were nurses.
Okay.
My sister at the time, her husband at the time was going to medical school. My brother was going to medical school, and so like I thought that was the path I needed to take.
Yeah.
Then I found out you had to take like physics and
Yeah.
biology, and so I got off that path pretty quick.
Yeah. How many years did you do?
So I did 2 semesters, like
Okay.
just like generals, I guess.
Yeah.
And then learning about what courses I needed to take. Went out and sold my first summer, came back, did 1 more semester, and then I dropped out.
Okay.
So-
That's great. I mean, obviously, like, you get that a lot. People think that, they're surrounded by other people that are in the medical field.
Yeah.
You see them, they're successful. You think, okay, that's the avenue I need to go to. I
Yeah.
want to be successful. So tell us about your first year in sales. How did that go?
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say I was pretty blessed. Like I started off hot,
Okay.
did really well, but at the same time, I still wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Like sales is hard whether you're good
Oh,
at
dude.
it or bad at it.
Yeah. And you're in a brutal set. Like,
Yeah.
we're both in sales. My sales is a little different than your sales. Like your sales is hard.
Yeah.
Like, that is
a lot of rejection.
arguably like the hardest sales job out there.
Yeah.
Where did you end up going your first year?
So I'm from Rexburg, Idaho originally, and went out to Houston, Texas my first summer.
Okay.
So it was still, I left the country for a 2-year service mission, and I was still nervous
Yeah.
to like leave Idaho again.
For sure.
But I think that's what probably helped me the most is just getting out of that comfort zone. I had to drive 24 hours, so
Wow.
wasn't about to drive back if I quit.
Yeah, like it's a done deal.
Yeah.
That's cool. Where did you go on your mission?
I served in the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines.
Okay. How was that experience?
Honestly changed my life. So if you know who I was in high school,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't recognize me now. Just the way I acted in high school versus the way I act now. I just completely mind shift of the me mentality to like, how can I help others and how can I bless other people's life?
That's huge, dude.
Yeah.
And that's like, how do you feel like that impacted you in kind of that first year in sales?
Well, it scared me, honestly, because I went to the Philippines, and if you've ever met any Filipinos, they're
Yeah.
just so welcoming and so nice.
Yeah.
So I had like 0 rejection on my mission.
Yeah.
Of like people yelling at me, screaming at me, like high rejection. Like the worst rejection I got was like, yeah, come back tomorrow. And then we'd come back and they weren't home.
Yeah.
So I was nervous to go into sales because I didn't really experience any type of rejection,
Yeah.
at least harsh rejection. So that was nerve wracking, but I think just the mentality of if you work, if you put your mind to it, like you'll be successful.
Yeah. Well, and like it shows a lot. I mean, to go out and dedicate 2 years of your life in another country
Yeah.
to help people, like that's a big commitment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that probably helped you get up the courage to like, okay, I'm going to go commit a summer.
Yeah.
That's a lot less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Commit a summer away from home and pursue and try this.
Yeah. And I'm actually making money doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm actually getting paid to do this
Yeah.
one. So that's cool. So your first year in Texas, experience wise, sales wise, what did you end up doing? that year?
Sold a little over 300 accounts my first summer. I was the top
massive,
rookie on my
dude.
team. Yeah,
Okay.
it was fun. I think of like if you're competitive at all, like a commission-based job is the way to go.
For sure. Where do you think your like ambition and competitive nature came from?
Playing soccer against you in high school.
Yeah. So it's kind of how me and Mark originally know each other back when was we played high school soccer against each other.
Yeah.
I played for Idaho Falls High School. He played for Madison. We weren't like technically rivals, but we were rivals.
Yeah, you
Like,
guys were good.
yeah, we were like, it was like we played Skyline, but like playing Madison was like even more competitive. I feel like we like, had that rivalry, but
It was heated. Yeah, I just remember like all the Idaho Falls teams were always just like a little bit better than us growing up. So in high school, we just always wanted to beat you guys.
You guys were good. Like we
got there.
District, tournaments together and stuff. So yeah, you guys had a good squad. And that's where like from a sales perspective, obviously like running a sales team now, we're both kind of running a sales team.
Yeah.
That's one thing I look for is like that competitive nature. Because I feel like that's the differentiating factor
For sure.
for a lot of successful sales guys.
Yeah, I would say that, and then finding people who like to work on an individual basis, but in a team setting.
Yeah.
Because that's how sports are. Like if you show up to practice, you put in time, but if you put in extra practice and extra time, and you have a good support group around you, then that's where you're going to succeed.
For sure. It's like, what can I contribute to the team, but also knowing that I got to work on myself outside of the team to really help the team achieve higher and better things. Now that's a good perspective. So first year you go out there, you crush it, 300 accounts, revenue wise, like what is that?
I think I produced close to 150,000 in revenue.
That's massive. And how many months were you out there?
From May till August.
From May to August.
Yep.
You made more than most people make in 12 months, even 2 years sometimes. That's insane, dude. So, okay, you got your first taste of a summer out there.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Like, I'm going to go back this next summer? Or were you kind of like, where were you at?
Initially, no, I think.
Okay.
Just because the paychecks didn't quite hit right at the end of the summer. So you make good money during the summer, but then you get 2 paychecks after your commission paychecks.
Okay.
So I just went back to school. I was dating my wife at the time, so I wasn't super focused on building a sales team or anything. And then the paychecks came. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Yeah. I was able to pay for a wedding ring. I was able to, pay for us to go to Mexico. That's why I proposed.
Wow.
And then bought myself a truck. And I was like, man, I want to keep this train rolling. And so obviously the bank account starts, depleting. Yeah. And you're like, oh man, I should probably go out and sell again.
Yeah.
And then recruited a team of 16 guys that second year and went out back to Houston, Texas.
Okay. So you're back in Houston with a team of 16 this second year.
I co-team led with another manager and we ended up doing 1.5 million in sales.
It's massive, dude.
With our team. Yeah.
What's so going into like that second year, you've got 1 year of sales under your belt. Now you're trying to recruit sales guys.
Yeah.
How was that recruiting process?
I was not good at it.
Yeah.
I kind of learned on my own, like just started setting meetings. Like I didn't have like a script. I didn't have an outline, like just pounding the pavement
Just
essentially.
winging it.
Yeah. And some guys just trusted me and said, sure, I'll give it a try. And I definitely could have trained them better. I could have set better expectations. I could have been a way better leader my first year. And that's what I think motivated me to keep going, is because I saw how many failures I had my second year.
For sure.
Of leaders, training, management, of how much better I could have done.
Yeah.
And so that next year I created what's called my championship culture with my guys.
Okay.
And that's where the game changed.
So that's year 3.
Yeah, going into
that?
2020, pandemic year.
Okay. So second year out, 16 guys, 1.5 million in revenue. You come back year 3. Now, are you still going to school when you come back this year? Or are you like, I'm in sales full time?
Yeah. So that year 3, my second year, I made over $100,000. And I was like, I just need to go all in on this, because I think everyone has this stigma in their life where like, I just need to make 6 figures and I'll be happy.
100%.
Whether that's medical, sales, whatever you're doing, that's why most people go to school, like engineering and stuff. It's like, oh, I want to make $100,000.
Yep.
And that's kind of the threshold. So I was like, I don't need school to make $100,000, so I'll just go all in with this.
And that's like the interesting perspective that I find is like when people realize that they don't need school to get to that, whatever that goal is.
Yeah.
It's like, and you were in an environment that showed you a different path.
Yeah.
It's like you're a product of your environment. We say that like all the time in sales and, building a team. It's like you're a product of your environment, but you really are. It's like you initially started that you're in this environment of people going into the medical field.
Yeah.
Like, cool, I'm going to chase that. Now you get into sales and you're in this environment of like sales. You're like, cool, that's a different path that I didn't really even know existed.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I'm going to now pursue that. And when you're making 6 figures as a college kid, like you're like, this thing's legit.
Yeah.
I don't have to, I'm not paying anything out of pocket to go to school for. I'm not going to have any student debt. I can literally just go do this and build it. And you're good at it. That's the differentiating factor too. It's like, not everybody can go out and do exactly what you did. It's like what is your average sales guy usually do?
Our average sales guy does about 75,000 in sales.
That's huge.
So he'll take home 22,000 for the summer.
Okay.
So most like college kids, best case scenario is like 8 to 10,000 working a full-time minimum wage job.
Okay.
Or even a good paying job during the summer.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I tell my guys is it's actually more of a risk to work a hourly paid job than it is to work a commission paid job.
For sure.
Obviously we get nervous thinking of a commission paid job. If you don't sell anything, you don't make anything.
100%.
But if you just work and train, you can literally double what you would make just working hourly.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like it takes that one good day out in sales. And you're like, oh, wow.
Flips the switch.
Yeah, you're like, this is actually possible.
Yeah.
It actually works. But it's hard to get to that one day, especially for a lot of your sales guys. So in like your field, first year you took out 16 guys.
Yeah.
Did all 16 guys stay?
No. So I think total on our team between two of us, we had 24.
Okay.
And then just my guys that finished, I think I had 9 finish the summer.
So less than half
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
Wow. So year 3, this is where you buckle in and you're like, explain your championship culture.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I think I fell short my first year managing is I was just like, hey, let's go out there, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And it went well. Like it wasn't a bad summer,
Yeah.
but it could have been way better.
Yeah.
And not necessarily just for me, but for everyone that worked with me, just have a better experience. So that's what I wanted to create. Like we never won a soccer championship and it bugged me. We won districts, I think, my senior year, but going to state, we always just got destroyed, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then like we won like tournaments and stuff, but I've always wanted to have like, that championship moment or just being the number 1 team.
Yeah.
And so I just broke it down to 4 concepts. The first one's being an asset. So anyone who works for me, my goal is to help them make money.
Okay.
And teach them how to close deals, teach them the sales process A to Z, nonverbal, paraverbal, body language communication, just through the whole process so they can actually make money.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of sales, you probably see this in your business where they have a bunch of guides and they're just like, all right, good luck. And then no one closes deals, no one makes money, then people are upset.
100%.
And so that's where you can provide the most value to your people is to help them increase their income.
Yeah. So the asset being an asset, you being an asset to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then essentially them becoming an asset to where they can create value.
Others.
Yep.
100%. Okay.
So the next part is mental toughness. I think that's like one of those X factors in sales is you can make good money one day, but to go out and make good money the next day and the next day is tough. Like it's easy to get complacent. It's also easy to get like in your rut. Like, oh, I'm just having a bad day, having a bad week. Oh, I just had a bad month. Then it's been a bad 2 months. Yep. And then you're like, all right, well, we need to get out of this rut. So just focusing on leveling up as a human, whether that's in the gym, cold showers, running, just being uncomfortable because sales is uncomfortable. Asking somebody to buy your product is awkward.
100%.
But
yeah. It's so like mental toughness. What do you train your guys? I know you mentioned a few things like cold showers, doing that. How do you train them to be mentally tough? Is it trainable? Because like that's
a you could probably have whole podcasts on mental toughness, and I'm not like a psychologist or anything, but the biggest thing that I think helps reps the most is honestly vision.
Yeah.
Like if there's lack of motivation, there's lack of vision.
Yep.
So if you can create vision, then you can kind of create the mentality of like, hey, I need to do this, this, and this to get to there. And so along the lines with mental toughness, it won't be as hard. The goal is to make life easy, right? By doing hard stuff early. And so knocking doors is hard. Like that's part of the mental toughness is like this job is going to be hard and it's going to teach you how to be mentally tough.
No, that's huge. And it's like a lot of people forget that like having a vision to center around all your activities is like the key part. Because if you're just knocking doors and knock doors, you don't have a vision of like where that's actually going to lead you. A few bad days and you're like, okay, screw this. Yeah. I'm going home.
Easy come, easy go.
Yeah. So how have you painted that vision for your guys? Like,
a big thing that we focus on is real estate, as you know. Yeah. We love to help our guys make enough money to either qualify or purchase a property, either their first, second, or third year in sales with us, because not only does it give them something to work towards, but then again, going back to that first concept of being an asset, helps them acquire assets to eventually not have to knock doors
Yeah.
in a couple of years.
And I really want to get into that side of things because that's what I think sets you guys apart from a lot of door-to-door companies is the vision you're creating for your sales guys and what you're helping them do outside of building their sales skills.
Yeah, buying an R8's not a good visionary.
Yeah, but it's good for attraction.
It is. It's great for content.
Yeah, hey, we're big on the content.
Yeah.
So, okay, so your championship, you got your mental toughness, you got being an asset.
The third one is actually Aptive's core values.
Okay.
There's 4 of them, but for sake of time, it's just exceed, hone, commit, and elevate.
Okay.
And I usually break those down with all my guys because I don't like to micromanage anybody. For sure. I don't want to babysit anybody. So if you have common core values or ethics within your group, then everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing. They're self-manageable. And then that way I don't have to feel like I'm looking over their shoulder. And if they're having a bad day or a bad week, I'll always refer to them on the core values.
Okay.
Because if they're not performing, it's like, okay, are you training? I probably could train a little bit more. Where's your commitment level? I'm at like a 70. Okay. So there's 2 things that you can improve. Have you helped anybody on the team? Have you tried to be positive? Have you tried to elevate somebody else? Help them achieve their goals? No. Okay. Have you exceeded your expectations or have you kept the commitments that you've made to yourself? I could probably work on all those. So it just makes it a really easy management process to where I'm never the bad guy, but I'm there to help provide the opportunity. And that's essentially my job as a manager is to always provide opportunity. Yep. And those who take it, run with it. And those who don't, then it's like, well, I'm always here to help, but I can't pull you along to success.
100%. And I've said 100% a lot in this podcast because like everything, like it's all resonating with me because like we're in different sales fields. But I'm like, some of these things, like that's so valuable because I get that all the time, like sales guys with real estate, they're in a rut. You can have a killer month.
Yeah.
What's hard is like to have consistent killer months. Yeah. It's like you have one bad month, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore. Like
the doubts start to creep in.
100%. But I'd be curious to get some of those like lessons that you've taught because sales guy comes to you, it's like their commitment level's low. You ask them these questions, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like how, you can't drag them along, but how do you get them out of that rut?
I think it just goes back to understanding who they are. Running a sales team is very difficult.
It's difficult.
Everyone's motivated differently. Everyone's inspired differently. Some people love incentives. Some people despise them. Some people don't like competition, but they're a killer sales rep, but they crush under pressure. And so just getting to know your people is probably the best thing that you can do on a personal level. So when you're asking those questions, just being intent and having like a genuine attitude to help them rather than just like, yeah, man, like pick it up, like keep working. Like in our field, it's like knock more doors.
Yeah.
Like most managers are like, hey, I'm struggling. Just knock more doors.
Numbers game.
Yeah. Numbers game.
Yeah.
Knock more doors. I'm like, well, they've knocked 200 doors and they haven't sold an account. So we should probably look at their training schedule. How are they training? Yeah. But just spending good time, quality time with your people on a business level and relationship level helps those questions flow. And I think the biggest thing that I would say contributed to my success in that culture is communication. Yeah. Like just having a transparent 2-way street between the rep and me. Like if you don't feel like knocking doors, like let me know. Yeah. And let's see if we can help you get motivated rather than like you having to lie to me like, oh, I'm not feeling good or, I'm taking a break or you just tell me you're knocking and you're actually not working. Yeah. So.
That's been the hardest thing for me too is like a sales manager is you ask your sales guys, how you doing? I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
But they're not fine.
Yeah.
There's things and they're just like letting things build up and then eventually they're like, oh, and then
it's a breaking point. Almost.
Yeah. You get this breaking point and it's like this outpour of emotions. You're like, I can't help you if you're not communicating to me. Like, how am I supposed to know all these things are going on? You go back to like, a relationship with your spouse. It's like, you can't read their mind. You've got to communicate.
Exactly. So,
I love that, you got that open communication. I think that's so important for sales guys.
I think it's important too with your top performers even. Yeah. Like we started at the beginning, like sales is hard whether you're really good at it or really bad at it. Like it's hard either way. Yeah. And so they just have different challenges and different mental blocks that you have to work through.
For sure. Dude, I love that. There's so much gold in there for sales managers. And dude, like how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Like the wealth of knowledge that you're spitting at the age of 25, like I'm excited to see where you're at in 10 years. Like
trying to keep up with you.
What kind of
so.
sales teams are you going to be running? Like it's super exciting, man. So, okay, year 3, you developed this like killer championship mentality and vision for your team. What do you guys end up doing year 3?
So year 3, I lead a team by myself. I had a couple of guys return from that first year, and we ended up being the top 3rd team in the company.
Wow.
So we were close to being number 1, but we did over 2.5 million in sales with about 25 guys.
Killer.
So our guys did about 100,000 in sales on average. So we increased our earnings per rep, our average per rep. And so that's when things really exploded, because I think I had 13 out of those 25 hit our management benchmark.
Okay.
And so that next year they came back, recruited, led teams, and we just expanded that culture.
That's phenomenal. I have this weird, like, do you think it was better to go with only 25 guys? Because there's probably teams that are bigger than you. Like those top 2 teams, how many guys did they probably have on average?
I mean, it really depends how you do it, but I think that year we recruited like 80 guys.
Okay.
And then we cut the fat, like people who weren't training. And that can be hard. It can be scary in sales to like bring in a bunch of people and then just let them go, because you're like, that's missing revenue, that's potential deals, but it's also a lot of potential headaches and potential struggles. And so just finding and hiring the right people is probably the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And then filtering through those people. Like, I think if you have a high school of 3,000 kids, that football team's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of people to pull from.
For sure.
So kind of just having like mini tryouts. I think we ended up bringing like 35 or 40 guys that year.
Okay.
And then slowly just trim the
Ending with
fat.
25.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, because that's in any sales, it's like you can like have a Navy SEAL team.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're like 10 people strong, and our output per sales guy is, super high.
Yeah.
Or you look at the other route of like, I'm just going to recruit like 200 people.
Yeah.
And we'll just try to out volume
Yeah.
the problems. There's a lot of headache with that.
Costs more.
And it costs a lot more.
Yeah.
So year 3, you kind of end up with 25.
Yep.
And it sounds like you kind of had that Navy SEAL team of like, you trimmed it down to like top performers that year that all hit super high benchmarks. So year 4, what does year 4 look like?
Year 4 was probably the most rewarding, but probably the most difficult year of my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was tough. I might get emotional, honestly, but try not to.
No, let's dig into it a little bit. Like, was it harder on the recruiting side of things?
So recruiting was phenomenal.
Okay.
It was easiest it's ever been, because we just came off of a really high year. All my managers made great money.
Top 3 team in the country for the company.
So it was just like things just aligned.
Yeah.
And that was in San Antonio, Texas. So we were 3 years in Texas. This next year, we decided to go to the Midwest and try Colorado, Kansas City, St. Louis.
Okay.
And so we had 4 teams that were spread out, and it was that time to kind of like put your managers out there and trust them to let them lead their own teams. And different struggles came along with that. But we started off in Colorado. I led a team in Colorado Springs, and we had 4 inches of snow until the end of May.
Oh.
So like reps weren't performing. We sell pest control. So like in 4 inches of snow, nobody's seen any bugs.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I should have just stayed in Idaho. But on top of that, me and my wife were doing long distance. She was finishing up nursing school. My sister-in-law passed away that summer. Like a lot of internal battles were fought that year.
Yeah.
And we were losing reps left and right for the first month.
Yeah.
So we worked really, really hard to recruit. I think we signed close to 300 guys that year. And so we were on track to absolutely obliterate it. Yeah. And going to Colorado, I wouldn't say it was a mistake, because those that finished the summer through the snow are now some of my best managers, best leaders.
Yeah. You built like tough situations for them that they had to fight through. So
it was a battle. It was a war that we had to go through together. It was a long summer, but it was definitely rewarding. Like those were the days where in your head you're like, I only lose if I quit.
Yep.
And you say that again the next day and the next day.
But you just keep chugging.
Yeah.
And it's like time is your friend. It's like over time, if you can continue to do it,
Yeah.
it's like you're increasing every day. You're getting better and better. So you were personally in Colorado.
Yep.
And then you had managers out in those other locations.
Yeah, so I travel and train guys throughout the summer with those teams.
So how'd you end up year 4?
So year 4, in May, I wanted to quit. I almost wanted everyone else to quit.
Yeah.
I was just going to leave. I was going to go home and spend the summer with my wife.
Yeah.
and probably go back to school. Like that's how bad of a mental place I went. As far as like, I think with sales, you can get so emotional to where you stop thinking logically.
Yep.
So it's all emotion based. And I was definitely in that emotional state to where like money didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. I just want to be with my wife. I want to be home. I wanted to be like safe is what it felt like. But going forward, looking back, those hard times, I had my best personal production that year, working less hours, and we doubled our sales and did over 5 million by the end of the year.
That's insane, dude.
So,
and that's like the struggle. Like we're talking about sales, we're talking about numbers, we're talking about you making a lot of money, but you know what a lot of people miss is like the actual struggles that you guys as sales guys go through. Because it's like, I don't envy you whatsoever. Like the amount of, you know, I struggle working the hours that I work here in town, but I still get to go home to my wife, and I get to go home to my house. And for 5-6 months out of the year, we're in a different environment. You know, you're in a different location. When you go out and have a hard day in sales, you go back to your apartment by yourself or with your sales guys.
Yeah.
And, it's just a different environment. Like maybe like touch on that. How has that impacted your life?
It's definitely, stretched our marriage for sure. Like that, even when we weren't doing long distance, this year we didn't do long distance, but it's just long hours.
Oh yeah.
Like it's 12-14 hour days during the summer. And so minimal time with the spouse, and that always takes a toll on both of us. And just learning how to set proper expectations, and, you know, when it's time to work, it's time to work. And when it's time to play, it's time to play. Yeah. And just don't work when you decide to play. It would be my suggestion.
Because I'm curious if you want to dive into this, but you know, like, how do you get your spouse on board with a job like that? Is there, you know, how do you guys get on the same page? Like,
I think it comes down to who you marry. Like, I've obviously I don't feel like I've ever convinced my wife to do it. She's kind of just been like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And she knows that it's a short game for the long game.
100%.
And so it is a lot of sacrifice. Like, we just bought her a nice new home last year, and that was for her. And we Airbnb that during the summer. She's like, I don't want to Airbnb my house. I was like, well, if we Airbnb our house, then that just puts us that much further ahead. Then we can build our dream home. And so just communicating, I guess, sacrifice versus reward, and where you can be, and just short term, like taking the hard roads now will lead to easier roads later on.
Yeah. And having that communication, I think, like, for us, it's so important with the hours that we're working to maintain a good relationship. It's like, you guys got to be on the same page with where is that end goal that you're going for, and are you both on board to do the sacrifices that it's going to take to get to that end goal? Because if not, like, you need to have that conversation up front pretty quick, because it's like, okay, one of us is going to be like suffering through this, but if we're both on board to do it, like, we could probably create a fantastic life. You know, I watch you because you guys do, like, man, you guys are working all the time, and it's not just when you're gone, because when you're recruiting here locally, you guys are long hours here, and building your culture. It's like, you guys work like animals, so I admire what you do. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
And your ability to, you know, maintain a relationship, like, that's part of the struggle that a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, I could go crush it in sales. It's like, well, there's other things that you got to also be aware of, that it's not, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows when you go out to do these summer sales jobs. So year 4, you guys crush it, 5 million in volume.
Yep.
Is this going to be year 5? Or
I just finished year 5. Yep. Okay. So I'll go on to year 6.
Year 5. What did you guys do?
Year 5, we consolidated our teams a little bit. I didn't spread out my management, and we ended up with 3 teams.
Okay.
And we had a big team in San Antonio. We went back to Texas.
Like, getting out of Colorado.
Yeah, getting out of Colorado. Went back to Texas. And then we had San Antonio, Austin South, and Austin North.
Okay.
And I led the number 1 team in the company last year.
That's out.
And did over 3 million in sales with my team. And then we did another 3 million in sales with my other teams.
Wow, dude.
So
what lessons did you learn year 4 that carried off into year 5 for you?
I think just my commitment levels went up, my buy-in went up, and it was just like, we're going to be the best. Yeah. Like, I know how to do it. Yeah. I've gone through 4 inches of snow and still slung pest control deals. So, like, just increasing your like that glass ceiling
Yeah.
that you put on ourselves of like, hey, what's possible? And then I didn't knock this summer, really. I knocked for like 2 weeks, but I trained, I facilitated, I managed, and I think that helped the team produce higher volume.
Yeah.
Because all they had to worry about was knocking doors.
Yeah.
It was pretty like streamlined for them.
That's awesome.
And so it was a pretty smooth summer. Like I wouldn't say like I went from the worst summer of my life to like, man, this is the easiest thing I've ever done.
That's awesome. But it took you, like, you had to get through that year.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you almost quit year 4
Yeah.
to lead into, like, your best year yet, year 5, where you like, finally got through it. It's like you have to get through one of those struggle years to learn the lessons, to break through, to say, here's where you're at. And then it looks like year 5, you're officially in that manager kind of position.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I've worked the last 4 years to get to this space, and now I'm here. And it sounds like you guys crushed it. What's your goals for this upcoming year?
I've been asked that question a lot the last 6-8 months. I've been working really hard, and that's kind of my goal, is just to work harder and be happier.
Yeah.
Like I love numbers and I love looking at numbers, but anytime I put stuff on an Excel sheet, I track it, I feel like I lose the relationship side of things. And so personally, I've just really just dialed into my people and tried to build better relationships and work harder with them. And like whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, ideally we crush it. We have our biggest year, but that's not going to happen without working harder and being happier.
Yeah. Explain being happier. What do you mean there?
I think understanding where like my happiness levels are, and I'm not happy if I don't work, and I'm not happy if I'm not improving. Yep. So if I can work harder and improve, then my happiness also kind of follows the same trend.
Yeah. So that's just a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
To decide what makes you happy.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's awesome, dude. So I want to talk on like your guys as a company. What I think is so cool about you guys is like, you're not just out here training sales guys.
Yeah.
You're training sales guys to make a good income, but then helping them actually like grow their wealth. And that's what this podcast is about. It's like the pursuit of wealth. It's like, we're all trying to, at the end of the day, increase our wealth so that we can make time for the things that we actually enjoy, you know, the things that actually make us happy, whether that is working more, doing whatever work you enjoy, or it could be taking a vacation. But like, how has that process been for you guys? I know, maybe talk a little bit about your real estate portfolio that you have. And like what you guys have provided for your sales guys.
Yeah. So the final part of our championship culture, like the last bracket, is called financial literacy.
Okay.
And so what I tell my guys is we're going to teach you how to build credit. Which school doesn't teach you.
No.
We're going to teach you how taxes work. Also another thing school doesn't teach you.
Yeah.
How a 1099 works, how like the difference between 1099, W-2, tax strategy, tax mitigation, how to get approved for a car loan, how to get approved for a house loan or an investment. Like we talk a lot about that stuff during the summer, which also helps create vision. Yeah. It's like, hey, if you only make 20 grand this summer, you're not buying a property.
Yeah.
Like you'll probably have to wait another year. If you bust your butt and work hard, you can make 50 grand, potentially get qualified, maybe get a co-signer. And we work through all those different situations with our guys. But I never really had real estate in mind. Like when I first started, like I wanted to build car washes, and I still do.
Really?
Yeah. I've always detailed cars, but that was kind of like the dream investment of owning my own car wash.
Interesting.
And so it's still on the books. It's still in the plans. And so I got really serious about it year 4. But I think I'm going to wait just a little bit longer until I can have my Aptive group fully self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And then kind of transition into the car wash game.
And car wash game, like there's some pretty cool tax incentives with getting into the car wash game.
A lot of tax loopholes, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
And money laundering, I've heard.
Yeah, we won't do that though, right?
No, definitely not.
But dude, I love that you guys are teaching your sales guys that. Especially at a young age, because average age of your sales guys is probably
18 to 22.
That's insane. So you're teaching these guys, not only are they coming out to crush it in sales, make a good income, but then you're giving them like a college education on, you know, these things that they weren't going to learn in school. Yeah. How do you get your credit up? Like, because I've, you know, we've had clients come to us to buy a house that they have their college degrees, you know, but they know nothing.
Yeah, they're like mid-30s.
Yeah, they have no credit. They have none of these pillars that you guys are teaching on. I think there's so much value in that for your sales guys.
Yeah, I think that's what helps set us apart from a lot of other door-to-door spaces, like there's a lot of different things you can sell door to door.
Yep.
Like you can make millions of dollars selling anything.
Yeah.
You know, real estate, insurance, pest control, roofing, alarm, solar, but it really comes down to your environment.
For sure.
And so it's sad when I see a lot of guys making incredible money and then I don't see them buying any assets.
Yeah.
Like they're doing all these trips and the cars and everything. And it's like, man, you could be still doing all of those things while acquiring, you know, assets.
Yeah. Because that's going to build your long-term wealth.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the exit strategy. It's like if you guys, it's almost like that is the light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of these sales guys is come in and bust your butt for 5, 6, 7 years, maybe 10 doing summer sales.
Yeah.
If you put your money in the right place, like
You could be done.
You could be done.
Yeah.
Be done in 10 years. Like people are going to college for 10 years to get out and start their career.
Dental school.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to your dental school. But like you guys are planning like, hey, if we plan this right, we can be done working in 10 years.
Yeah, I think that is the dream for a lot of us, right? To have, I own 8 units right now.
Okay.
I'd love to I'm hopefully picking up a cabin this next month that will Airbnb. And then hopefully get to close to 30, 40 units.
Okay.
Hopefully the market crashes so then we can just
take
pick up
advantage
everything.
of it.
Yeah. So just make as much money as I can this year and help all my guys make as much money as I can. So if there is a correction in the market and things come down, then, you know, they'll have a better buying power and opening that up.
100%. So your goal in real estate is to get to 30, 40 properties?
Yeah, before I'm 30.
Okay.
I think I could scale it more depending how things go and if I got a little bit more risk mindset, you know, if I leveraged everything that I had, leveraged a little bit more. Because I have a decent amount of equity now in my properties, but it's just kind of sitting there until the right moves.
Same. And like you have some great mentors and leaders, you know,
For
behind
sure.
you in that real estate game. You know, your top guy over there's got 160.
He's at like 180 or something.
180 properties. You got Yogi.
Yeah, and that's what got me into real estate is these guys. Like I think we all grow up, you know, wanting to make 100K and want to buy a house.
Yeah.
If you do those 2 things in your lifetime, like you're successful.
Yeah.
But like year 2, I was like, man, I need to buy real estate. I need to buy a house. Like everyone around me is buying it. Like I felt behind.
Yeah.
And now those guys are some of my best friends.
For sure.
And I love the feeling of being the small fish in my friend group.
Yep.
High school is awesome and high school is fun, but there's no like real value, I feel like, that came out of high school. But the friends that I surround myself with right now on the daily, like I still love my high school friends.
Yeah.
But being around Chandler, Garrett, they're 5-6 years older than me.
Yeah.
And doing big things.
Big things.
And so it's like, if I can just tag along and be a part of the process, then I can get to where they're at.
It's massive, dude. It's like going back to it, like you're a product of your environment.
Yeah.
Put yourself in a place where it makes you uncomfortable. You feel like the small fish.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in rooms where like I feel like I'm the dumbest person here. I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Those are the best rooms to be in.
Yeah.
Because if everybody's playing at like 10 levels higher than me, I can learn things to get to that same level that they're at. And so, yeah, I think that you've got some great mentors, you know.
Yeah, it's been a big blessing.
You know, those guys are crushing it. What's your car wash? What's your vision for the car wash?
Honestly, like a luxury experience.
Okay.
So if you drive a truck, you get your own personal truck wash. If you drive a sports car, you get to go through a different wash. Like it's almost categorized to where each different type of vehicle that you own, you get your own. So there's like 4 washes in one. Yeah.
Okay.
And so each tunnel has different perks and everything. Obviously, different cars are different sizes. Like if you go through a car wash in Idaho Falls, they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And so just differentiating myself, creating a luxury experience where you could even get your car washed, detailed, wiped down, and just like a very smooth system for people to enjoy their wash car. Because nothing's more frustrating than washing your car and having it come out and still be dirty or like dripping or whatever.
Oh, yeah. If you can create one that's got like maybe 20 times the amount of dryers so we can make sure the vehicles are dry, that'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
Dude, do you think something like that would do good in this market, or where would you want to put that?
It's scary because we're in a cold market.
Yeah.
We get a lot of snow, but I mean, you drive a nice Raptor.
Yeah.
You want to keep that thing nice.
Yeah.
Monthly subscriptions are kind of the new thing for car washes. They've been around for the last couple of years, and that's the way to get reoccurring revenue.
Yep.
So you don't care if it snows or not. You're still going to run through the wash because you have unlimited washes. Yep. So that's kind of the protection there. But the market's getting a little saturated here in Idaho Falls. You've probably seen a couple pop up. So I like to look, where we're going to be at in 3 or 4 years. So
Yeah.
I'd love to do it locally just because I love the feeling of helping out the community, employing high school kids to work there,
For sure.
and just giving them an opportunity to make money
Yeah.
at a young age.
I love that. You need an investor in your car wash.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's awesome though. Do you take the sports car through a car wash or like?
I go through like the touchless washes.
That's okay.
So
That's
just
what I do with
water
the truck.
pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I was like, so when on a sports wash tunnel, would you just be like touchless?
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just very smooth, clean machines that do minimal. I mean, any car wash is going to cause damage to the paint
Yeah.
for those like micro scratches and stuff.
For sure.
Best case scenario, you don't have to get a hand wash and stuff.
Yeah.
And pay a ton of money.
And
But,
get it quick. Because
Yeah.
that's the nice thing about like, I like going through the touchless one just because, well, the only touchless one we have here, like that I know of, is the KJ's one.
yeah, KJ's and I think like Jiffy Lube has like a side one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But it's like, I feel like that one takes so long. Like
Yeah.
if there's like three cars,
Yeah.
you're there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, ideally you have no labor at a car wash. Like your
Yeah.
highest expense is labor.
Yep.
And if you have no labor and it's all machines and everything, then you can cash flow a lot more.
Yep.
Ideally, that's not my vision. My vision is to employ a bunch of people to give
Yeah.
them jobs, stimulate the economy a little bit in
sure.
Idaho Falls. And just create like that hometown vibe of just a classic, nice little car wash where you can hang out, dry your car, talk to your friends, like in the olden day commercials with like
Yeah.
the checkered floors and all that good stuff.
So like one of my first jobs in college when I was in Phoenix was I worked at like this car wash that was kind of like that. And there's kind of cool business model, like subscription base. You could go through it. And then, like premium was like they hand dried it afterwards. And like, so there was a bunch of people that still were working there. They would shine the tires and all that stuff. So that'd be cool, dude. That'd be a cool little side hustle that you do.
Yeah, it'd be fun. So I looked at land for a long time. We almost put together a deal in Rexburg like a year ago.
Really?
And then I just felt like I was spreading myself a little too thin. And so Aptive has kind of just been my focus for the last 2 years and
For sure.
just been buying real estate too. So
Yeah. We got to have that one thing that brings in the revenue.
Yeah.
Just fund everything
Yeah.
else, So it's like stay focused, and as you grow, then you branch out.
Yeah.
So, what are like 3-4 key things that you want to share that you've learned through this experience, growing from where you started your first year in sales to now where you're at, leading the number one team in the company, crushing it with your revenue, owning a bunch of real estate? What are like three lessons you'd want to share with people?
One thing comes to mind. Hopefully it's all right if I pull up my phone.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I can't remember the technical term, but it was on a podcast with Ed Milet. If you don't listen to that guy,
Well, that's a beast.
it's called Sheehan's Wall. Have you ever heard of it? So in indie industry, there's a lot of like with any jobs. I like lately I've been trying to get back to the gym.
Yeah.
And once your Instagram tracks you, so you see all these jacked guys in the gym or like the posts and I was talking to my buddies, he's like, yeah, my friend's been working out for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And he's jacked. And so you just got to be okay working really hard with intangible or invisible results.
Yep.
And it's called Sheehan's Wall. So essentially, you're just punching the same spot in the wall over and over and over again. And like, you don't see a big difference until a little hole starts.
Yep.
And then once you break through that wall, it's endless opportunities.
Yeah.
And so you just got to do the repetitive stuff, the boring stuff, the fundamentals, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Like they were just really good at the fundamentals and they did it over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's the small details. Like they just kept mastering the small details. And it's hard. For our sales guys, it's like doing their lead gen activities and there's prospecting. It's like every day. Our industry, it's like the work you put in now is going to pay off in probably 90 days from now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a client.
And it's boring.
It's boring work. Yeah.
It sucks.
And when you're not seeing a result right away,
Yeah.
it's so hard to stay there. But it's like, you're right. If you just keep punching that wall, eventually that hole starts. And a lot of people stop like when they're 2-3 punches away from breaking through. Like
Sure.
if you would just give it a little bit more time, like you'll eventually break through. It's inevitable. And there's like, do you listen to Patrick Bet David at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow him on Instagram.
So like, he said something the other day, like maybe it was Alex Ramosi. I don't know which one said it, but basically like do something enough where it'd be unreasonable for you not to be successful at it.
Yeah.
It's like if you're knocking doors, if you knock, I don't know the numbers, you probably know them better, but like let's say you knock 1,000 or 5,000 doors, it'd be
Like 30,000.
30,000? Okay. If you knock
In a summer.
30,000 doors, it'd be unreasonable for you not to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you make, for us, it's like if you make 5,000 phone calls, it would be absolutely unreasonable for you not to get some transactions out of
Yeah,
that. Like
exactly.
if you do that and you're not successful, okay, then maybe like there's something else wrong. But
Yeah.
it's like it would be unreasonable for you to do that. It's like just stay
good.
consistent, you know?
That's the secret.
Yeah. It's like just do it till it'd be unreasonable for you not to be successful.
I like that a lot.
Anything else you want to share with the audience?
I think comparison's always like a big thing, right? Yeah. Especially in the world where, you know, there is social media.
Yeah.
And you can look at Alex Hormozi, you can look at Patrick Bet-David and all these big guys, Ed Milet, and you can almost be envious.
Yep.
Or, you know, even people in your same space.
Look at all these Aptive guys with the Ferraris and
how much car debt we're in or car loans we have. But that's what people don't see, right? Like,
100%.
We have all these cars, but it's like we're still human and we're not better than anybody else. But sometimes we look at people in our same space and they're like, man, they're so much better than us.
Yep.
Or, you know, they're doing such big things. Or, you know, if this, you know, a real estate agent's closing 10 deals a month and you only close one and you're like, man, like, I'm not happy. But it's like, well, you still close one deal.
Correct.
And so just anytime, I think it was Alex Hormozi who said this. No, it was Eric Thomas. He said, stop looking through the window and start looking in the mirror.
Yep.
So anytime you get caught looking in the window, you're just looking at other people's stuff.
Easy.
And it can destroy you. Like comparison is the thief of happiness. And anytime you need something to work on yourself.
Yep. I love that, dude. It's actually a phrase I didn't know Eric Thomas said it, but my business coach actually told it to me like three weeks ago. We were talking about, you know, because sales guys, it's easy for sales guys to look through the window instead of look at themselves.
It's all image.
Yeah, it's like they can look through the window and see a different company.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this other pest control company is better to work for.
Yeah.
Just because they're having struggles with themselves and they don't want to look in the mirror and say, have I helped other people on the team? Have I done my training?
Yeah.
Have I been committed? It's like, it's Aptive's fault. It's a crappy product.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go sell for those guys. It's
Exactly.
easy to do that, you know,
Yeah.
but you want to be successful, look yourself in the mirror, start there,
It's true.
you know? I love that, man. Last thing, if there's anything else.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head, probably like, don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't be a quitter. I think that's one thing my dad taught me. He's like, if you're going to do something, just do it.
Yeah.
And I think of Matthew McConaughey when he called his dad and told him he wasn't going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go to acting school. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, I want to be an actor. I want to go to Hollywood. He's like, well, don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do it, just go all in, because that's where I think the shiny object syndrome is so big in our world right now. We see, you know, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, or all these gurus and mentorships, and it's easy to get caught up in all the shininess.
Yep.
And just make a commitment. And I always tell my guys, those who are loyal and committed always make the most money.
Yeah.
In any industry.
Yeah.
So do those two things and don't quit, and you'll find yourself crushing it.
Stay committed and let time be on your side.
Yeah.
It's like if you invest enough time into anything, like you should get a reward from it. So, dude, that's awesome. You guys are crushing it. I'm excited to see what you guys do in the next few years. If you guys want to connect with Mark Willmore on
Instagram. Yeah, just my first and last name. I think there's an underscore, but
you'll know. He's got a picture of a red R8 TRX. Yeah, you'll find him. So appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been good. Okay, till next time, guys.
Don't listen to people who lose or you'll do the same. Stop talking to people who don't give a what you saying. Stop spending your money on weed, go hop on a plane. Stop pointing the finger and start taking some of the blame. Let me put you on game. Control your emotions, most of the time it's really not worth it. Don't be ashamed and beat yourself up for not being perfect.